Okay, good morning and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folari. I always say it when I remember, thank God it's Friday. We should be thanking God for every single day, Monday right through to Thursday, Friday. And so here we are, going into the weekend. It's been quite a week, you'll agree. Let's continue, in a sense, on the political conversation we've been having, but let's shift this time. Let's look at the opposition, the main opposition party, PDP, because, you know, some activity, some political activity. 3 presidential aspirants met with former military president Ibrahim Babangida yesterday in Amina. That's Dr. Abubakar Saraki, Governor Aminu Waziri Tambuwal, and Governor Bala Mohammed. All 3 of them had a closed-door meeting with the big man, and what we're hearing is that, yep, probably way to go to, you know, remove strife, all these problems that we have. So let's see how all of that will go. We were talking about APC and their consensus, you know, arrangement, which by all accounts in a different kind of meeting, they've said that that went very well. So now it's the turn of the PDP, and these gentlemen, Dr. Abubakar Saraki, Governor Aminu Waziri Tambuwal, and Governor Bala Mohammed, they are consulting. Of course, there are other presidential aspirants in the PDP, but, you know, so far so good. Okay, my guest this morning, Emeka Madunagwu, he's a journalist. Thank you very much for coming on, as always. Good morning to you. We'll also be speaking with Opunabo Inko-Tariah. Mr. Inko-Tariah is a political affairs analyst. Good morning to you. Thank you for being able to join us this morning. Okay.
Good morning.
Okay. Yeah, so we have you, and we have you. Let's just start with you, because we just, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't say that. I was going to say we don't trust the networks, but because they showed us yesterday. So let me just start with you. Give me your impressions and on preparations within, you know, the PDP, the main opposition party, going the way of, well, they haven't gone one way or the other yet, but those that have consulted, as you well know, in a closed-door meeting with former military president Babangida, you know, it's a consultation, and he has said that he's quite happy with the arrangement. Your thoughts on that? Because that wasn't the entirety of the people that have those aspirations, this particular aspiration within the PDP.
Talking of the PDP, the intra-party politics, especially with those, are you with me?
Yes, 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 we can hear you.
Okay, especially with those that have indicated interest to contest. If you talk of the PDP, I strongly believe that it should be zoned to the north or the south. If you go by the PDP zoning arrangement, when you consider that Goodluck Jonathan or President Muhammad Buhari just succeeded Goodluck Jonathan. So if we talk of fairness, equity, and justice, then we should be talking of either the Northeast or precisely not even the Northeast, the Southeast. That's what we should talk about.
Mr. Inko-Tariah, one moment, please. You got to mute the volume of your television set. We are hearing audio from your television set, so you shouldn't be able to hear off your television set. You'll hear from your earpiece. It's distorting what you are saying to us. Oh dear, I hope I haven't unsettled anything. Opunabo Inko-Tariah.
Yeah,
okay, we were doing good, but we do want you to please mute the volume of your TV set, because...
That is done already.
Yes, thank you very much. So please continue. You were saying that you thought the zoning should be, and take it from there.
The zoning, precisely, if we talk of equity, fairness, and justice, firstly, and if you go by the PDP constitution, the zoning should actually be to the southeast. Because President Goodluck Jonathan of the South Buhari was preceded by President Goodluck Jonathan of the South. So if you talk of zoning right now, going by the PDP, if you talk of micro zoning, so to speak, then you should go to the southeast. If we talk of equity, fairness, and justice. And that to a very large extent will placate the Southeasterners that have been agitating, that have been crying against marginalization, segregation, and discrimination. and to a very large extent will still be peers of the Southeasterners who believe that they have been discriminated against, and which is also responsible for the plethora of applications we have that got to the apogee of this IPOB crisis. So I think if you talk of zoning, it should get to the south, and it should be microzone to the southeast.
And then the consensus part of it. Okay, maybe I lost you there momentarily. But well, in the
no, I'm with you. I'm with you.
Okay.
What did you say?
The consensus.
I didn't get that part of. Yes, the issue of consensus. Well, you see, when you talk of consensus, you take under advisement various variables. You have to also consider who will win the party, who will navigate the party to success, to victory in the upcoming general election. But when you also talk of that, don't forget that every part of this country has capable hands. Now, the issue of zoning is meant to palliate, to address the issues of numerical difference. That's why they talk of zoning. Because if you talk of numerical strength, then I can tell you that only the North will produce. And like I said earlier, one of your sister program stations, even in the United States of America, which is the natural place of modern democracy and the presidential system which we are practicing, they have the college system. And why do you have the college system? You have the college system so that the minorities will also have their, not just their say, but also have their way. Otherwise, the likes of Al Gore and the likes of Hillary Clinton would have won the elections, would have been made as president. But with the college system, they ensure that those smaller states are at least being carried along. And that way, that's even the federal character structure to recognize indirectly what they call zoning. Because if we don't forget the nuances we have in this country. Like the Southeast, like I said earlier, the Southeast is complaining. They are saying we've been marginalized. The 3 arrows after the Civil War, the cessation of the Civil War, have not been implemented. So they believe that, and rightly too, from 1999 to date, no Southeasterner. We clamored in the South until we got Goodluck Jonathan, although he was an accidental president. It was a deliberate act. But even at that, we've had a shot at the presidency. Now, the Northerners took over from us. It is now the turn of the Southeast. If it has to be zoned to the South, it should be micro-zoned to the South in the interest of fairness, equity, and justice. I'm talking of the PDP. That's what I'm talking about. Not any other party. We are now looking at the PDP party.
Thank you. Okay, we've since been joined by Sir Ken Okolugbo on Zoom as well, former commissioner in Delta, APC chieftain. Good morning to you, Ken. I don't know if Ken Okolugbo can hear us yet. I understand you've joined us. Well, good morning to you. Okay, we'll come to you as soon as we can. But in studio, we are with Emeka Madunagwu. The efforts, you just, am I hearing? Let me just see if I can get Ken Okolugbo. Hello, Ken.
Hello, I can hear you very well.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Sir Ken Okolugbo, former commissioner in Delta State, APC chieftain. You're welcome to this morning on TVC. We're looking at efforts. PDP chieftain. Sorry about that. You know, he's not an APC chieftain. Ken, no. He will not even agree. You know, never mind that. Like a zombie, I went and read what my producers wrote for me, APC chieftain. So I'm saying categorically here that Ken is a PDP chieftain. Right, Ken? Right, Ken? I think he's gone again. Okay, we'll get him back. You heard the analysis of Opunabo Inko-Tariah there, that the only way to go, he feels that PDP can answer, as it were, the prayers of the Southeast, if we're going to be equitable here. Right. Give me your thoughts on the whole idea and the fact that some of those aspirants within the PDP have decided to have this consultative meeting with Babangida, which was done behind closed doors.
Yes, it's a good idea, because politics is about interest. The interest of the members, the interest of the collective. And in pursuing the collective interest, there must also be justice, there must be equity, and there must be honesty. You know, people should not try to push their personal ambitions to the point of threatening the cohesion, you know, in their political parties. And people must also be mindful of history, the burden of history, because some of these things have a way of unsettling ambitions when the time comes. I mean, the Northwest, it's, for instance, it's unconscionable that Tambuwal of Sokoto State is, you know, from this Northwest is pushing himself again. After the Northwest has, you know, held on to the presidency going to 10 years now. I mean, I wonder what else what he thinks of people from other zones. I mean, so that's why it's instructive that he was at that meeting with General Babangida. You know, I believe when General Babangida talked about, you know, fairness, talked about, equity, I'm sure he, you know, somehow he was pointing at Tambuwal to say, what exactly are you doing on this table of aspirants? I mean, there should be fairness so that every part of the country can be carried along. You know, some people will tell you, oh, there's no zoning in the Constitution. But there are so many things that are in the Constitution, but as a result of political expediency or political agreement by virtue of the need for all component parts of the country to be fairly represented at the table, we have to adopt certain things. For Jonathan to become president, the National Assembly had to adopt the doctrine of necessity. It's not there in the Constitution. Even till now, it's not in the Constitution. So the interesting thing is that as a nation progresses, certain things arise which have to be dealt with outside strictly constitutional and legal requirements. And that's where we are today. We're talking about zoning to the south. President Muhammadu Buhari is going to 8 years. I mean, by May this year, May 29 this year, it would have been 7 years on the saddle. So by next year, 8 years on the saddle. That's the Northwest. Umar Yar'Adua was there for 2 years and passed on, unfortunately. So that's making it 10 years. Obasanjo was there for 8 years. Jonathan was there for 6 years. So it means that when you are zoning the presidency, you should come down to the south. Now, in the south, where should it go to? Naturally,
yes.
You should go to the southeast. I mean, this is not about trying, you know, people trying to, you know, trying to engage in, you know, sophistry, you know, sleight of hand. No. It should go to the southeast.
Okay, let me see. Good morning, Ken. Sir Ken Okuluwo.
Yes, morning.
Okay.
I can hear you very well, Uncle Yori.
All right, great. Ken Okuluwo, former commissioner in Delta and PDP chieftain. Thank you very much. Now, you've heard what we're saying. I wanted to get your thought on it. Zoning, micro-zoning, equity, fairness, justice. The PDP's candidate should be from the southeast. Your thought on that statement? Ken? No problem. We know them well. The network is playing up again. We'll come to you as soon as we can. Ken, did we just connect? Ken? What a pity. What a pity. Okay, but going back to our other, guest that is online, talking about Opunabo Inko-Tariah. For equity, you just heard, Emeka in studio is saying that the way it's looking to him, sitting here as an analyst, not in either of the political parties, but that equity does, indicate that the PDP candidate should, when the time comes to appoint that person, for that person to emerge, it should be from the southeast. Do you think it's cut and dried as much as that? That the only fair thing to do, the only equitable thing to do, is for a candidate to come from the southeast? I'm aiming this question at Opunabo Inko-Tariah.
What's the question?
Okay. Okay, Opunabo, please carry on.
Yes.
The only equitable thing to do, from the point of view of Emeka the analyst, is that it has to be from the southeast, really. Any other thing is sophistry, sleight of hand, or whatever.
That's it, that's the summary, because your system is playing up.
Okay. The system is playing up. It's the network, but I'm so sorry about that. What I was saying, if you can hear me now.
Yes.
If you can hear me now, I wondered if you agreed that the only fair thing to do when results do come out of the PDP as a result of this exercise, the result should be that the candidate is from the southeast. That's the point of view of some analysts.
Yes.
That's the only fair thing to do.
That's what I said.
Yes. So anywhere else.
That's the only fair thing to do.
Okay. That's the only way to go. Ken Okolobo, we've been trying. Is it any better with you in terms of the quality of the line? Ken? No. It's one of those.
Okay. Can I go on?
Yes, please. Please continue.
Okay. The studio also agreed with me. His views are in tandem with mine. I hope you can hear me.
We can.
Yes, in the studio, his views are in tandem with mine. So it is very unfair, greedy, anybody from the south who is not from the southeast to contest for the presidency on the platform of the PDP. It is their constitutional right, no doubt about that. But like here, we are talking of cohesion here. The tenuous ligations of the encasement called Nigeria has never been this threatened. And so if we talk of cohesion, if we say we want continuous existence, then we must ensure that equity, fairness, and justice is enthroned. And that is the only way we can assuage the feelings of those that are already agitated and feel marginalized.
Okay. All right.
That any other part of the South should contest for the presidency come 2023.
Okay.
On the platform of the PDP, I insist.
Okay. All right. Okay. One moment. Emeka, the former military president did say that he was quite happy with the meeting, and after the meeting he was sharing what he wanted to share, what he could share, which is that he was particularly happy that the people who met with him, Abubakar Saraki, Aminu Tambuwal, and Bala Mohammed, that they were speaking about Nigeria, and he said it gladdened his heart that when people come and want to talk about Nigeria and moving it forward, which I would then infer from what he was saying was what these people were doing. But the point has also been made by yourself and indeed Inko. We've not been able to hear from Ken yet, but I suspect it might be along the same line. The point has already been made that nobody from that axis should really be interested in the party if we're going to be fair. That's the ideal. That's the ideal. But pragmatism, the people have these ambitions, and I just hope, as the president, a former military president, was counseling, that this can be sorted out in such a way to, put rancor at bay. Are you optimistic that this isn't indeed the way that they will go? Because they have to take a corporate decision among themselves, the PDP, that, look, we agree that the only fair thing to do as a party is to make sure. But that would immediately, set up Atiku Abubakar, Abubakar Saraki, and all these people, just set them up for, you're not really morally entitled to contest.
No, they are citizens of Nigeria, first of all. So they have a right to express their political intent. They have a right.
That's the
idea. I agree with that.
Yes.
So we cannot deny them of that constitutional right.
No.
But you see, within political settings, there are considerations. That's why we have a negotiating table. We come to the table and say, okay, there is no governor, no PDP governor from the South is running. Ikpeazu is not running, Ugwanyi is not running. And then, but you have a Peter Obi, a former governor who was one of yours, and he has shown interest in running. In the APC, you have governors too who have shown interest in running. Okay, Fine. Why don't we balance it in such a way that instead of an Atiku running, he says, okay, I will deploy my resources, I'll deploy my support base to ensure that you get this. After all, what happened in 2011? What happened in 2011 when Dr. Goodluck Jonathan got the PDP's ticket? Everybody had to fall in line and help him to win the election. So what is clear is that the PDP must avoid a repeat of the anyhowness that led it almost led it into oblivion.
Okay.
After 2015.
You know,
the PDP had been in power for 16 years and got so used to power, so it felt that, somebody said, was it Vincent Ogbulafo at the time, the national chairman said the party will be in power for 60 years.
Yes.
So they got drunk on power.
Let me see if we're lucky at this time with Ken Okologo, PDP chieftain. Ken, we're really trying.
Yes, I can hear you very well. I've been hearing you all the while.
Oh, okay. Please, weigh in on this question. I'd like to hear your impression on whether you feel PDP will be able to do what is being considered the right thing now.
Yes, I have followed all they have been saying in the studio. We're looking at how we can win elections. That is what we are really bothered about at this material point in time. Zoning is not something you can wish away. This is why we have put up a committee, a 37-man committee, to deal with the issue of zoning. And this committee is still meeting, and we expect them to give us a report, a detailed report on which zone they think should produce the presidential candidate of the party. But looking at it critically from the perspective your guests in the studio and the other guests have seen it. You rightly said that the Southeast has a case in saying that they believe they should have a fair share by producing the presidential candidate. Now, the only man from the Southwest who has indicated interest, Doyo Kupe, has thrown his weight behind Peter Obi. And you have Payosanyim also, who has also indicated from the Southeast, Boyo, who has bought the form and is seriously running. And if you look at the North, Tambuwal, Bala Mohammed, and Saraki has come together to produce a consensus candidate outside Atiku. I wonder why they're working outside Atiku Abubakar. Well, if fair is fair, we have never microzoned in PDP. We have only said that if your zoning is either the Southwest, the South-South, the Southeast, or the North Central, or the Northwest, or the Northeast. It's never been like that. We say we want the candidate to come from the North, or want the candidate to come from the South. So this issue of microzoning is only coming because they are seeing that 3 zones have really not produced the presidential candidate or the president in this dispensation, which is the Southeast, the North Central, and the Northeast. But considering the fact that President Buhari has he's about finishing his tenure in office and he's from the Northwest, one would naturally expect that the presidency should be zoned to the South in the PDP, and especially because the chairman of our party, Iyocha, comes from Benue, which is in the North, but now they want to term it as a North Central. So I think in all reality, in realistic point.
The network is just about to go again, but Ken, no problem. I'm sure it'll settle down. In fact, I'll take a break at this time. Please stay with us along with Opunabo Inko-Tariah and Emeka Madunagwu in studio. And when we come back, we'll include your calls from home as well. Stay with us, please. Okay, welcome back. And so in the main opposition party, the PDP, beginning the whole process of coming up with a presidential candidate, 3 top-notchers in the PDP, Abubakar, Saraki, Aminu Tambuwal, and Bala Mohammed. They all met with former military president, General Ibrahim Babangida, as part of their consultations, is the way it was put, and they had this closed-door meeting. So after that, the former military president, Babangida, said that he was quite pleased with what he had heard and would always be pleased when people come to him as long as they're talking about the importance, the development, the cohesion of Nigeria, which was what he had adjudged those three to be doing. But we're looking at the whole issue of how they're going to agree. We've heard, if you've been with the program, that the only equitable place, mind I didn't say legal, in the sense that everybody has the right to apply, but the only equitable person to emerge should be from the southeast, according to opinion. I've heard Ken, speak on that. Also, Mr. Opunabo Inko-Tariah. But in studio, you heard Ken. You heard Ken, Emeka. You heard Ken's response. You had some reactions.
Yeah, for him to say the party has never micro-zoned, I respectfully disagree with him, because let's take our minds back to 1999. I mean, Ekweme was naturally, expected to pick the PDP's ticket, Dr. Alex Ekweme, because I mean he played a major role in the formation of the PDP. I mean, remember the G38 and all of that. So, but the party had to consider certain things, the mood of the nation at the time, and the party read the barometer very well and said, listen, even though the man we're looking at, Olusegun Obasanjo, is not really qualified to be the candidate, but in certain ways we can work these things out. And it was worked out, and he became the candidate. So let's not try to bring in extraneous considerations into what ought to be a straightforward matter. Because you have Nyesom Wike, you have the man from Akwa Ibom, Udom Emmanuel, who have picked the forms. But the question is this: how do we give every part of the country a sense of belonging? That, okay, we belong to the nation. If certain considerations were made in 1999 that accommodated the Southwest, even though the party didn't fare well in the Southwest at that time, why can't we throw our minds back and consider that, okay, at this time, there are rumblings in the Southeast. What can we do using this, the instrumentality of producing a candidate, presidential candidate for the PDP? Why don't we use this as a means of breaking the camel's back and ensuring that we present to the people and say, okay, this is what we are willing, we're willing to concede to you, X, Y, Z, so that we can reach a consensus, which can reach an agreement.
That is exactly how people go about the consensus issue. And so this is what
even though consensus, to some extent, it's not good politics or it's not fair politics, but you see, that is the nature of humanity itself.
It's a compromise.
It's compromise.
Kesandu in Imo State. Good morning to you, sir.
Okay, good morning.
Thank you. Please go ahead.
Yes. The truth about it is that I come from Imo State. The truth about it is that PDP has been a party known from even to the world level as a party based justice, equity, and fairness. They might be getting every other thing wrong, but they believe so much in, please, this person should get, this person should. But the truth about it is too, Mr. Madunagwu on your studio even told you how, or the reason the 1999 was seeded to the West. Just to make sure that some persons are being calm. And you will still agree with me that in the PDP today, the Southeasterners have contributed so much towards the good growth and development of the party. They have remained steadfast in the party. And this time, the best thing that can happen to the country, so these are where even Mr. President, who is not even from the PDP, is coming from. Why would the PDP consider somebody from the Southeast as president? To consider this, we have credible candidates. It's not just about anybody. There are several credible candidates coming from the Southeast. Why don't we throw away to these people? Give them this high sense of belonging. You know that there are agitations in the country. These are certain political arithmetics that the PDP should make. The Southeasterners are so much agitating or being marginalized in the scheme of things in this country. At think it's best for everybody to say, okay, come and take this. And good thing that we have people. We have the likes of PDP. We have the former Senate president. These are people we can throw away there, so that they will not even disappoint the country. They will not disappoint the party. So I am appealing to the conscience of the party. Those of these big wings from the north, they should rally around the southeasterners. If you don't know, we can be blunt and explicit about it. They should rally around it, or you will give Nigeria credible and competent leadership. The southeasterners, this will actually do good for everybody if they actually zone the southeast. God bless them.
Thank you very much, Kesandu. Ken, if you can hear us, Ken, can you hear us? Okay, Ken?
I can hear you very well.
Excellent. You know, some northern voices have said in the past, perhaps even in the recent past, that, look, without prejudice to the whole idea of consensus and zoning and all of that, you know, they said that nobody's going to hand power to anybody on a platter of gold. In other words, people have to fight for the power, for a place. Nobody's going to do that very nice Christianly good thing of, you know what, it's your turn. You've been unfairly treated, so here, you know, you take it. They say nobody's going to do that. That is a northern political commentator, a northern voice. Your thoughts on the whole viability of this project in terms of, you know, doing what is being considered now as the equitable thing? I was allowing for a delay.
So in zoning, you must be able to also help yourself. You must go around the country to do consultations. You must be able to market yourself. You must be able to show yourself that you are going to be the one that will be the game changer presently in what we find ourselves in the country. And so even while we'll talk of zoning, you cannot sit down at the same time and be waiting for the party to now say that it's going to be between Pius Anyin and a Peter Obi because we have microzoning to the southeast. Or it's going to be a Wiki and against possibly an Okoa because we have microzoning to the south-south. It's going to come up north to the three people who have decided to form a consensus. You must be able to show that you are really serious. Apart from buying the form, you must go around the 36 states of the country within this period to show seriousness that you're throwing your heart into the ring, not because you're waiting for it to be zoned and so you will be brought up as maybe probably a consensus candidate or someone who can sell himself to the delegates that will be coming to the convention.
Okay, you know, some proviso there. I see. I get what you're saying. Some proviso there. Let me switch to the call that's waiting online now of Mr. George in Ikeja. Good morning, Mr. George.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Thank you for calling.
I greet all your guests.
Yes.
Uncle Yori, if people have to be wise, they won't be talking about zoning the presidency to the north. It will be when the other party has theirs to the south. The current president is from the north. There's no way they can feed a northern candidate and expect Nigerians to vote for another. Not fly. And if you talk about the south, you can't feed a candidate from a zone where you don't have a strong base. Look at the south. The east is the only place they have a strong base. They can't go to south side because they had President Jonathan from south. He announced going it again to another south to not work. That is if they were to be wise. But Uncle Yori, you know what? I don't want them to be wise because we have not forgotten about their past. We are ministers, we are buying diamond underwears with $40 million. There's one that kept $10 million inside the wardrobe in his house. The court has just declared now that he is the owner and that they should return it to him. where stealing was not corruption. For me, we don't want that one now.
All right.
So I don't want them to be wise.
Okay. You know. Okay. Let me just ask you, Opunabo. Ken has just said that irrespective of any arrangements of zoning, micro-zoning, consensus, people can't just sit down and say that, look, it is our turn, so I'm sitting here, you come and, you know, hand it to me. You know you've been unfair to us, so we're waiting for you to do the right thing. Apparently, politics is not going to happen like that, and Ken said that in relation to my observing that some voices from the north had been saying that it doesn't work like that. Nobody is going to hand anybody power on a platter of gold. Your thoughts?
As much as I agree with him that power is not just given, but what we are saying is that, of course, everybody has the rights. That we have all agreed, we've all stated. Everybody has the right to contest, provided they meet the legal requirements to so do. No doubt about that. But in as much as we've all agreed, that's why you have the issue of consensus. That is number one. And number two, we are going to govern which country. You need to have a country to govern. If you have people that are so disillusioned, if you want peace, enthroned peace, if you want a country to continue to exist, then there are certain compromises that we must consider. Now look at, for example, the PDP. The PDP can say, okay, fine, we are zoning, because it is in their constitution. Ken is even aware. It's in their constitution, the issue of zoning. The PDP can say, we are zoning to this area. Every other person might contest, but because the party has agreed that they are going to zone to a particular area, majority of the party members are going to vote for the person from that particular area. All they need to do is to choose the candidate that they believe will ensure victory in the next general election. That's all they do. It's a matter of an agreement. There are no point in time, even when you talk of consensus, apart from the last APC National Convention, but at no point in time, even when you talk of consensus or when you zone a particular office, a particular zone, and everybody in the country will agree. At no point in time. But the issue is that majority will agree, and that will influence the results of that convention or that election or that primary. That's the beauty about consensus and agreement, compromise. You reach accommodation on the issue.
Okay. Joining the conversation from Irewolede in Ogun State, Mr. Joshua. Good morning to you, sir.
Okay, good morning to you, sir, and good morning to your guest.
Yes.
Mine is...
Please continue.
I align myself with George, and the point is, I think I will not forget in a hurry that the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, I live very close to it, was awarded twice, and no single deployment of construction was done on that road. Whichever political party did that has committed a crime against Nigeria. For me, I think whatever they call PDP, APC, the same political party. I want Nigerians to know that. Now it will be Nigeria versus
PDP. APC people don't agree to that statement, you know.
I know, sir. I have a right to tell them what I think.
Sure.
I know they will not agree. PDP and APC are the same political party. This one will be talking from this side today. Tomorrow they will go to the other side and be talking. So now we should have Nigerians versus PDP and APC party. So I am hopeful. I am hopeful that we are going to be wise as Nigerians. That we should start a conversation of putting Nigeria above political party consideration. Nigeria comes first. If we don't have Nigeria, people cannot agitate to fight the country and put it to an end. So let's be hopeful that we are going to a time when we will vote for a Nigerian. Let the Easterner advocate for a Nigerian candidate. Let the Northerners advocate for a Nigerian candidate. Let the Westerners advocate for a Nigerian candidate. And we will all talk as one. And we should stop all these selfish national interest above national good.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Joshua. Ken, First of all, you probably also don't agree with the notion that APC and PDP are one and the same. It doesn't matter where you are in the same political party. APC certainly doesn't agree with that. Your thoughts, Ken, before launching into the other matter?
But what he has just said, he made some sense. The chairman of APC today now is PDP. The secretary of APC today is PDP. So those are the two key positions they have in the National Working Committee. But where I don't agree with him is that APC has led us into economic crisis. And PDP didn't lead us to this kind of economic crisis. Yes, we had challenges when we were in government, but not this kind of challenges we presently have, that we are buying diesel at almost 900 naira a liter. And a bag of rice is getting to 35,000 naira to 40,000 naira a bag. So these are the situations that we might not agree.
Okay, the network has started again, but it was very convenient for you, Ken, to say what you said about the secretary of the party. You know, strategically didn't remember that the secretary actually came from the progressive fold. But I'm not about to, you know, take you on one-on-one on that. I hear what you're saying, but the line was beginning to go bad. This whole idea about APC and PDP being one and the same, people say it jocularly, but now Ken grabbed on it. Ken is a politician. Yeah. He grabbed on it and said it's true in a sort of way. Well, there are many APC folks that would say not true at all. You can't come with that line of argument.
Well, it's all about interest. I mean, for instance, would you say Peter Obi is the same Peter Obi in PDP as the same Peter Obi that was in APGA? He left APGA and moved to PDP because he felt it was a bigger platform for him to achieve his political aims. So one point must be clearly noted. We are at a junction where we must put national interests being paramount. It was the same thing in '99. And the same General Ibrahim Babangida, who engineered Obasanjo's pardon so that he could run for president, who also engineered the move away from Ekweme, a likely Ekweme presidency, towards Obasanjo before the Just Convention. It's the same Babangida telling aspirants, presidential aspirants, that you must agree on consensus. There's the benefit of history there. They should throw their minds back, okay, so that they don't end up torpedoing the party.
Okay, Godwin in Calabar, good morning, sir, and you're our last caller. Godwin good morning, sir.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Please go ahead.
Yes, just to say, can you hear me?
We can.
Yes, just to tell the Southeasterners. Yes, just to tell the Southeasterners that there is politics you play. Yes, that the politics you play to become a governor in Anambra State, for example, is different from the politics you play if you want to be president. There is a different politics to be played to be president. Anyone who desires to be president from the Southeast should begin to play that type of politics that can make them president. The second thing I want to say is the topic you raised, intra-party, what I can't see it on this thing, intra-party squabble award in PDP ahead of 2023. Yes, I have a question. Intra-party, what I can't see on the intra-party squabble award.
So sorry, we're going to have to let go of the call because I don't know if your television set is on or something. There seems to be an echo every time you say something. But, you know, thank you nevertheless for contributing to the matter. Ken, okay. Okay. So, okay, did you? Okay, you're still there. Let me allow you finish your thought.
Yes. Okay, the truth about it is the APC, I thought their convention would have produced the original members of the CPP or the ACM. Members just joined their party. Not the original members of the APC. So I actually thought that was a minus for them. I'm not impugning on the integrity of the chairman of APC or the secretary of the APC anyway. I'm only trying to say that they should have gone with those who were the original founders of the APC, which is one of the things that bring about reward in political party system. I don't think it was right going to reward those who were not original founders of the party and give them party positions. Such very sensitive positions. Because what that fellow was trying to point out in saying that they're going to reject the.
Okay, well, the network hasn't been too kind, but thank you very much for your efforts anyhow, because we did get it in. But I do like the idea. I don't know who mentioned the thought, amongst our guests online about, look, it doesn't matter where you are. Whether the Southeast come together, whether from the North come together and come up with a Nigerian candidate.
There's never been a problem of a Nigerian candidate. Let me tell you something.
But that Nigerian candidate is going to be is part of the problem.
From Nnamdi
that wherever, the way people look at it, I've heard this nice thing you've said, here I am, the Nigerian candidate, and the other person is busy saying that
from my anybody who is not a Nigerian candidate?
There you go.
From Nnamdi Azikiwe, in the Southeast, it has been this accusation that our politicians are more nationalistic than politicians in other zones. Nnamdi Azikiwe was accused of that. There is also the idea that Peter Obi is someone who is nationalistic, is not this, is that, and all of that. Don't forget Paul Sanyim was Senate president. So all of these things, when we talk about a Nigerian candidate, it is somebody that's going to be voted for by a cross-section of Nigerians. 25% of Nigerians across 2/3, 25% of Nigerians in this state across 2/3 of 36 states. So I don't understand this idea of voting the Nigerian president.
Okay, the gentleman, let me just bring it to you first, Opunabo Inko-Tariah. Just very, very briefly, please, your final thoughts on this whole idea of achieving peace in coming up with the presidential candidate over there. I'll come to you, Ken, immediately after.
Well, I think it will be in the best interest of the party. That is, I'm talking about the PDP. I'm not a member of the PDP or APC, so my opinions are based on my convictions. It will be in the best interest of the party to zone it to the south, not necessarily the north, the southeast, because the party has never produced a president from the southeast. They've had from the south, they've had from the southwest, they've had from the north. So it should go to the southeast in the interest of equity, fairness, and justice.
All right, then. And I do thank you, Opunabo Inko-Tariah, political affairs analyst, for being with us on the program. Ken, briefly, please, your thoughts, your last thoughts as we go away. Ken Okolubo.
I just want us to have a presidential candidate that can defeat the APC in the general election. So I hope the zoning committee will do a good job of feeling the pulse of Nigerians.
Really? That's it. Short and sharp. Thank you very much, Sir Ken Okolubo, former commissioner in Delta and PDP chieftain. And also, sincere thanks to Opunabo Inko-Tariah, political affairs analyst. And thank you both, gentlemen, for bearing with us through, all the gyrations of the internet. It just was one of those kind of days. Other days, it's so smooth. But we did get what we needed today. Thank you both, gentlemen. And also not forgetting to thank my guest in our studio as well, Emeka Madunagwu.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And so that's our program today. The next program is on Monday, God willing. I'll see you then. Do have a great weekend. I'm Yori Folani. Bye-bye for now.